Ah, hello there, Site 42 staff, as well as those of you from the greater SCP Foundation. And welcome to another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site 42. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director of Site 42 of the SCP Foundation. And as I have done for the last over a year and counting, because the daily stream streak remains strong, I'm here to open my office doors to you, the SCP Foundation staff, to answer your burning questions about this dark and mysterious place of employment we call the SCP Foundation. So whether you have questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff who contain them, the groups of interest who try to stop us from containing them, or hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview, perhaps from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e., fandom. Either way, we are here for the next, I'm hoping, 2 to 3 hours for today's stream. But before we go into the stream subject, as well as our standard Q&A, allow me to begin with a little bit of housekeeping. First and foremost, Stephen Tambari, as many will point out, yes, this eye is not looking great right now. This is why I take allergy pills in the morning. This is why I have to pet the puppy and then use a hand wipe. Because if I'm not cautious and maybe, I don't know, go to the gym in the morning without my allergy pills after having pet the puppy and wipe my eye, well, I will suffer for the rest of the day. And so eye drops have been administered, antihistamines have been administered, and we are still waiting for it to clear, unfortunately. But yes, unfortunately, it's my good eye. Therefore, putting on a pirate's eye patch while having to read This Is My JamCon entries was not going to work very well, unfortunately. So we will bear with it to the best of our ability. These meat suits only last us for so long, right? Now that being said, CD23, welcome to today's stream, and thank you for being the most punctual member of today's stream, as well as a member here at Site 42. We appreciate your punctuality in being the #1 chatter. Alongside you, Sleepless Dragon, Creepypasta, George Harrison, Amber, Dr. Wesker, 369 Destroyer. Everybody who I just named, thank you for being here punctually. And thank you for being here as members of Site 42 on YouTube. We appreciate your membership and your service. Next up, Minty Andrea, X-Gamer, Glitch Trap, Kelmsford, Stephen Tambari, Dexter Morgan, and Milky Sand. Welcome to today's stream. Thank you for being here punctually, and thank you for being here today just for being you. I'm 8 years old. Intern Middleman. I do hope you, if you are being truthful, and that's a weird thing to lie about, so I do also hope you're truthful for that reason, make sure you have your parents' permission to be watching this SCP Foundation stream. I understand that we have the Cadet Academy, And of course, the D class, who are children, and the war orphans we recruit to D class, otherwise known as the Warphans. But a reminder, the SCP Foundation is an adult community with a lot of graphic violence and other adult content. So, you should be an adult to enjoy the SCP Foundation content, and if you are in that teetering age of late teens, then it's like a rated R movie. Make sure you have your parents' permission. So, very good, very good. We kidnap children? Well, Intern Kelsford, we need D-Class to deal with anomalies that only deal with children. SCP, under the codename The Child Breaker, only affects children. And so if we do not have children to test with, how do you expect us to test the Child Breaker? It's pretty common sense when you think of it like that, isn't it? SCP-956, the Child Breaker, only affects children. And so, the human child has to be under the age of 12 years and within 5 meters of it. How do you think we discovered that? By putting 10-year-olds next to it, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, and then discovering a 13-year-old doesn't count. It's simple process of elimination. It's just good science, after all. I see I'm going to be saying this multiple times. Yes, intern Bottle, my eye is undergoing severe. I petted a animal before I took my antihistamines today. And so I am suffering the consequences of having adorable pets and also being allergic to them at the same time. We will survive, but we will be irritated the whole time. How like life. Okay, reminder, Site 42 staff. Today's stream is sponsored by the Dr. Sherman Site Director Edition plushie. You have 6 days remaining to reserve your Dr. Sherman Site Director Edition plushie at the links that is pinned in the chat or in the VOD description. You have to go get this before it is gone forever. You have 6 days remaining. If you wish to support the channel and have a sweet, sweet plushie, this is your opportunity. Good luck. Now, for today's stream subject, before we get to donations and the general Q&A, we are going over the articles that were submitted to the unofficial SCP contest. This is my JamCon. For those who are unfamiliar, you haven't been here the last few days. This is my JamCon was a unofficial contest, meaning it was run by Wiki community members and not the staff itself. But essentially, people swapped songs and then wrote articles based on those songs. We've been going over the contest entries since the contest ended, and we are currently going to start at 7th place. I'm hoping to get through 7th, 8th, or 9th today, or the 3 of those, but that will just depend on how long they go and how much we yap in between. So, let us start with the first of our articles. Then we'll do a little Q&A. Then we'll do the second article, little Q&A, and we'll see if we make the third happen. So, the first article on our docket today is SCP 9319, codename We Are Real. Let me say that again. SCP-9319, codename We Are Real. And a couple things you're going to want to know about this formatting as I go into the read. First and foremost, the entire page is grayscale. Something about this has made the entire article two-tone, black and white. Secondly, warning, this document features multiple intrusions from an unknown source. These appear to be noospheric in nature and have proven resistant to all known methods of deletion. They've been marked to indicate when they begin and end. Please take this into account during your reading of the following documentation. And so these sections in boxes are insertions, as I will call them. And this first one says, "If only they could see you now. You thought you were dead, but you've died a whole lot since, haven't you?" Well, that's not foreboding as hell. And then the image here is the home that was investigated. And so that is what we are getting into. So, let's take a look and see what's cooking. Also, as a reminder, at the end of every article that we read, because these are based on songs, I will be trying to guess what song it is based on. My only goal is for one of these to be based on a song I know and for me to guess it right. And right now we are 0 for 6, but only because every single article in the first top 6 was based on a song I had never heard of. So, not my fault. Okay, here we go. Item number, SCP-9319. Object class, Apollyon. Oh boy, serious business. Special containment procedures. Noospheric scrapers are currently attempting to eliminate thought forms of SCP-9319. Rational thought-based therapy is in place to limit 9319's family's expectations of its capabilities and returns. Amnestics have proven to be insufficient. Okay. Description. SCP-9319 is a loosely connected series of concepts in the noosphere pertaining to an individual that does not exist. When collected and considered in full, the constructive narrative indicates that they pertain to Arjun Devi, age 26, a resident of Albany, New York. This individual does not exist on any government records and is currently survived by oral histories, memories, and unofficial physical keepsakes. Instances of SCP-9319 are anomalously persistent and have survived multiple attempts to delete or remove them entirely from the noosphere. Here is our next insertion. You are home. You should be safe here. But this is your blood on the ground, you think. They aren't helping you. You don't know why. Maybe you didn't do a good enough job helping them. Insertion complete. When discovered, SCP-9319 was in the process of active removal via self-derived infovore. While Foundation personnel decided to let this continue naturally, as this is not an uncommon occurrence in the noosphere, complete informational annihilation was stopped by an intervention of unknown origin. The acquired resistance to deletion was the result. SCP-9319 depicts Devi as a typical adult male with no anomalous characteristics of his own. Below are some collected examples of various ideas, thought forms, and narratives that have been shown to display characteristics of SCP-9319. So these all take place in formats. Black boxes. And so these are different than the white box insertions. So let's take a look at the thought forms, narratives, and various ideas section. He was always such a good son. Quiet, respectful, always listened to his elders. There were big things in his future until the unfortunate accident. It's such a shame it's hard to see him as I saw him in that coffin. I still imagine his 10-year-old smiling face looking up at me proudly, bemean as he showed off his latest high marks from school. There's some weird typos in there. but I'm sure they're on purpose. It's such a shame it's hard to see him as I saw him in that coffin. I still imagine his 10-year-old smiling face looking up at me proudly, be mean, as he showed off his latest high marks from school. The next one also has weird wording. Let's continue. Loud noise, chest pounding, heavy breaths, hard to focus. Need to think of anything. Box breathing, quiet. Need quiet. Can't get quiet here. Loud music, not helping anymore. Nice enough guy. Quiet mostly. That wasn't until you got him into a smaller group. I guess his larger lectures were off-putting to him. He did a lot better. It was just a few of us. Then I saw him, the real him. A good friend. I wish I could have made it to the funeral. Again, this weird phrasing involved. Throat burn, but damn, this is good. Where did you get this? I can actually buy it, but careful. Arms too strong, legs too long, shoulders too broad. Can't fix that. All right, so we're getting some dysmorphia vibes, maybe? There is something about my face that does not quite look right. Again. God, did he love to eat. I remember when it was us at the lunch table, 5th grade, I think. Half of us didn't even want to finish our lunches because the lunch line had pizza. He offered to take them, and he did. Ate everything. Everything. We called him the vacuum. We probably shouldn't have done that. He was our son, our pride, our joy. He was going to be just like us. And what you might call functioning alcoholic, debit card to use at the liquor store, separate one under my name that they can't see or that I won't show them. An A student. Always helped in and around the lab when I needed it. Can't handle it. Awful texter. Sometimes really great at getting back to you. Otherwise, totally silent for days. He had his moments, and I could never figure out what he needed from us then. I don't remember the last time I spoke of myself positively. I remember he always liked to announce himself in a room. Not through pounding in his chest or doing anything, no, but just by saying hi to everybody. Me and the relatives he couldn't really remember the name of. I was too scared to do the same until he passed. Somebody had to do it then, but it didn't feel right. I don't think I was cut out for this. It's not quite a 4.0. All right, so high expectations maybe for grades? We just wanted to help him reach his full potential. We knew he had. What was the harm of reminding him so often? Yes, high pressure for sure. Someday I think all this stress is going to catch up with me. We were hoping that more people would show up. Call, maybe. I guess it was just me that hoped that, though. I don't think Mom and Dad cared, as long as family was there. That's all they wanted. Anything more is set dressing. Certainly not something they're actually looking for. I'm not really sure why I never invited him out. We were friends. Maybe I was just waiting for him to do it first. He always seemed so extroverted whenever we were together. So I kind of expected him to do it if he wanted it. He was in the gym a lot recently. He's one of the guys that work out in spurts. They go incredibly hard for 2 weeks, don't come for a month, 2 weeks again. The kind of guy who look in the mirror and they don't see the progress. They see what's left and how it hasn't gone away fast enough. Adult Indian male. ID tells us age 26. Blunt trauma to the chest. Multiple broken ribs. Not currently breathing. Multiple large lacerations on anterior side of all limbs. Large head bleeding indicates major head trauma, likely from striking dashboard and steering wheel. ETA 10 minutes to major trauma center. Prep crash cart. He tried to play a song for me before. Talked up a really big game. I think he got nervous because those strings kept buzzing. He still tried. He always did. He mentioned wanting to go out to more shows or getting piercing. 15 years, I think. He kept saying that he would ask them. Never did. Time of death, 5:07 p.m. Died en route to hospital. Close the eyes. Check wallet again for contact info, maybe? I don't know how it's affecting Mom and Dad, though. Would you like to keep this pile of ashes? I remember near the end, Senior year, he took a bunch of classes that he would never have otherwise. Art, history, music, things like that. I wonder why. He was going to be a doctor, just like us. He'll be back in this world soon enough. We do believe in reincarnation, after all. I can't do this. It wasn't right for him to go before me. I'm 70. I'm done. It's not fair. I left his room alone, mostly. Haven't touched it. It's hard to go in these days because it's just as he left it. I didn't know, but he saved all the birthday cards I gave him. Even the ones from when I was like 2. I thought he hated them. I missed my brother. I tabled next to him, I think. I definitely recognize that face, honey. What a shame. Good thing the news is reporting on it, though. Wouldn't have known otherwise. Nah, I didn't know him well. He tabled the one time. Never saw him in another art fest again. Put so much effort into him. I'm sure that wherever my brother is, he's happy. That's all I want for him. All right, that was all the thought forms. There's more article past here. But wow. Oh, that's about halfway through the article. And I'm just taking a break to be like, woo! That's, as I see some of you in the chat are hitting the relatable content button. Does this have any content warnings I should be worried about? No content warnings at the top of the article. But yes, definitely seemingly body dysmorphia. Don't know if that can't tell if it's trans related or not due to, going to the gym. Sometimes people, before they transition, they try to embody the perfect specimen of their own gender to be like, oh, well, if I was only super in shape, the top epitome of a man, then I wouldn't want to be a woman anymore. And typically that does not work for them. But I've heard many such cases. So the gym could be related to that as well, but they didn't like what they saw in the mirror for one reason or another. Dysmorphia one way or another. And then academic expectations. You're going to be a doctor even if you want to be an artist. That vibe, I totally get. By the way, once we are done with this article, as a reminder, I will get to donations and general Q&A a bit before the next article. So we will have a little chat before then. All right, going back into the standard log now. Devi is not the only individual to have markers in the noosphere when they appear to not exist. When they do not appear to exist. Foundation records of data and testimonies dating back to approximately 500 years show that 327 individuals in the least have experienced a similar self-inflicted infovore, followed by intentionally caused noopermanence. However, SCP-9319 is the sole example that has been able to be traced. Further investigation into the origin of the intervention that gave 9319 its anomalous abilities revealed minor traces of noospheric manipulation. Unique fingerprints corresponding to some of the thought forms above were located in high counts in the home of Devi's presumed parents, Shaan and Soni Devi, ages 55 and 54 respectively. Given the potential for engagement with any entities responsible for modification of the noosphere, Mobile Task Force Theta 707, codename Sensor Ships, sensor like sensors on a device, and then ships. Very, very good pun. It's important that the Mobile Task Force names are puns, so I approve. The sensor ships were dispatched. Attached below is an exploration log. And so now we have the start of an exploration log that is going to be interrupted multiple times by the entity that is invading the document. So we've got the start log, and then the insertion, and then more log, and then insertion. So we will do what we can to read those, and I will try to clarify back and forth. Start log. 3 members of Theta 707. Lead Jack Rossi, translation specialist Dennis Whitman, and gunman Kay Lawrence approaches the home. It is a single-story home in a suburban neighborhood, with nothing anomalous or dangerous immediately visible on an exterior examination. This is remarked upon as the team enters the home through the unlocked main door. Inside, they have found themselves in the foyer. A member remarks on a strong smell permeating throughout the home, compared to the scent of raw or rotting meat. However, a visual scan shows that nothing would be creating this odor in the foyer. A brief sweep of the rest of the rooms are similarly fruitless. Each member notes specific observations about the rooms they enter. Observation 1. The fridge in the kitchen is completely empty and entirely clean. The cabinets are stocked with mouthwash and purified spring water bottles. Observation 2. The mantle of the fireplace in the living room is completely full of photos, diplomas, plaques, and other items attributed to Devi, who, as we have established, does not exist. 3. 3 bedrooms are present, but only 2 are furnished. The main bedroom for the parents and what appears to be Devi's room. The third, presumably for the Devi's daughter, Amaya Devi, age 21, is entirely empty. Observation 4. The bathrooms have a strong smell of bleach. Insertion. The hands dig into you, dirty, and crushed nails into your flesh. You did not want to be here, like this, but you cannot do anything about it. You are tethered here, but all tethers are not permanent. You hope, as best as you can, through all the pain and ripping and tearing. Back to the exploration log. The team returns to the living room to regroup. Team lead Rosie pulls out the floor plans acquired from the municipal archives, which indicate that a basement is attached. The entrance is outside. To the side as Rosie studies the floor plans. Whitman and Lawrence discuss what else they have seen. Lawrence is impressed at the accolades, Whitman less so. Both laugh before Whitman mentions that the bedroom had many of the same outfit hung up. Red shirt, khaki pants, black underwear, all pre-prepared. Lawrence notes that she looked at the laundry room. Those same clothes were all that were being washed, and the trash can appeared to be full. A small list written on a discarded scrap of paper was found inside. Before she can continue, Whitman nudges her and tells her to let Rosie know too. Lawrence rolls her eyes. Why would you roll your eyes at that? What's on the log? I don't know. Here is the next insertion. You earned this pain. Earned it. Through every single little fucking fuck up. Rude, okay. Back to the log. Lawrence mentions the list and that she's memorized each item on it to Rosie. It consists of... Wait a minute. Why is Lawrence memorizing the trash list from the trash can? All right, it consists of personal development, professional development, arranged marriage, family relationships. Think of these things enough times and it will happen. The more you get thinking, the more people that are thinking, the better the chances. He will stay. He will be called. He will be back good as new. If it does not work, try again. Rosie frowns. Huh. Here's the insertion, the next insertion. Why did they want you like this? Back so wrong, so different each time. Like they kept cutting away at you in hopes you would be right. They stopped caring about who you were a long time ago. Now you were the sack of meat you think you always were in their eyes. The pain was unbearable. You never really got used to it. The next part of the exploration log. The team exits outside of the backyard. Piles of dirt appear haphazardly. That's a typo. Hello, puppy of interest. You're very excited to see me. And my chat is probably very excited to see you. Here's a quick visit from a little bandit who caused me to be a pirate today. Yes, kiss the eye you caused damage to. It'll be very funny. Everyone will laugh, you sweetie pumpkin. Can't stay mad at you, though. Too adorable. Too cute. Puppy of interest 42, codenamed Charlie, says hi. Just got a bath, freshly smelling, and does not have any treats on hand. This is a tragedy for everybody.
I have many treats. She just got a lick out of yogurt. She's good.
She will be treats. She will get treats. Thank you, Agent Goose, for bringing Puppy of Interest 42, codename Charlie. I am sure the chat appreciated it. All right. Continuing on. So, yeah, I do believe this haphardly. Is haphardly a word? It should be haphazardly. It's going to bother me. Haphardly. Cool. Not a word. Okay. So, what you are seeing in action, A, is that the SCP community is a team effort, and sometimes we help each other out by finding typos. Secondly, you're seeing that anytime you're writing for the SCP database, if you go over it, you'll find typos eventually. Read them out loud. Because when you're reading with just your eyes and only engaging that one sense, your eyes will start to glaze over if you've reread it a bunch. But if you go through and read it out loud, you will engage your speaking process center, and that will show you things. Okay, so haphazardly. Typo fix. Save. Piles of dirt appear haphazardly dug in the all-grass plot with signs of patchy regrowth. Rosie asks Whitman and Lawrence to dig these up as he sets up equipment for audiovisual data collection. Whitman agrees, and Lawrence only acquiesces after a stern look from Rosie. What is up with Lawrence? And yet, Rosie, do they got problems? They dig. Audio recording instrumentation, the first to be set up, detects a low crunching noise, inaudible to the team. Various bones, all appearing to be those of a human male, are found in each of the piles excavated. Each contains a different type. 1 femurs, 1 skulls, 1 ulnas and radii, and so on. Each bone appears broken, but clean, as no flesh, ligaments, or other organic material can be found aside from the bone itself. The team appears confused. The smell is stronger outside. Rosie remarks that it does not appear to be coming from any of the excavated piles. Whitman removes a nuoscope from his belt. He switches it on, with it already calibrated to SCP-9319 instances. The radar starts beeping wildly. Whitman quickly silences it, laughs nervously, and looks to his teammates. So now, are there clones of 9319, and then when they're killed off, they sort the bones into different piles in the lawn? What? Let's keep going. This is the next insertion. God, how you've disappointed yourself. How you disappointed them and were too much of a coward because they never forced you to do anything. Just suggested and implied and nudged you. Never a push. So they finagled you out of advocacy and pushed you in ways you didn't want to be without even laying a hand on you, metaphorically or physically. And you should have been thankful for that, you ungrateful little shit-faced brat. Even now you disappoint, you little fucking morsel, as your sinews and tendons are ripped from each other here and there and everywhere, like little ribbons they threw at your birthday party. Up, 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 enjoy. Wow, this is woof. Next part of the log. Noospheric markers are high, Whitman mentions. Most known instances of SCP-9319 can be tracked within. Rossi reminds Whitman to examine the collection of bones found already. Similar markers present on each, though each carries distinctly different noospheric sublayers. Whitman offers examples: lawyer, judge, doctor, financier, so on. Most appear to be tied to family roles or occupations. Rossi nods. He then gestures the team to the doors, which Whitman and Lorentz gently open. They walk down the stairs with a loud series of creaks. The crunching gets louder. The room itself is dimly lit. Lorentz recoils, as the odor is strongest here. Two humanoid hunched figures are in the back corner of the basement. The crunching noises appear to be emanating from that corner as well, corresponding with each figure bending over slightly. One displays secondary sex characteristics of a male, and the other of a female. Both appear mostly human, and neither appears to be wearing clothes. They both appear dirty and ragged, with entrails, flesh, and blood stuck to their skin. The pair of entities are partaking in feeding behavior. Whitman remarks quietly. Rossi silences him with an arm on Whitman's shoulder, putting a finger up to his own mouth. The team slowly approaches. Next insertion. It never gets easier. It keeps happening. Just let me rest. Or at least tell me I fed you and kept you warm in your belly and let you move your jaws to swallow me whole again. The team shine their flashlights on the hunched figures. There is no indication that the entities are aware of this. Two agents draw their weapons and keep them trained on the humanoids. Team lead Rossi asks them to identify themselves. They do not respond. Whitman looks to Rossi, then Lorenz, then wonders aloud on what to do. A translation is offered, but Lorenz mentions that the squad is unaware what language they even speak, if one is spoken at all. Lorenz, with her gun drawn, implies she is getting impatient. This is not something Mobile Task Force Theta 707 is used to, being mostly behind desks or working with surrealistics and other mental space-based teams. There's a click of a hammer being cocked. Both entities turn, and a body falls out of each of their mouths. The bodies are headless and cannot be identified, though genetic testing reveals them to be identical. The entity's eyes are bright and bloodshot. They are slightly larger than the average human, with sharp, serrated teeth. Lanky limbs bound forward as nails clatter on the cement floor. The team fires as Whitman draws his own weapon. The entities are gunned down quickly, proving extremely susceptible to gunfire. DNA samples from their prey cannot be matched with any known individual. It is confirmed that they are human, much like their dead predators. End log. Next insertion. The jaws sink into brain, soft, warm brain. You aren't even fully alive, but that's where your brain would be if you worked right or were brought back right. But it's hundreds of times now. I don't think it'll be the case anymore. And you can't make it stop, because even if it did, then it will happen. Insertion ends. Next, we have a final segment. And this final segment is in the same black box text as the thought forms from earlier, but they seem out of place here. But I'm going to show you what we've got. You are in a cold, dark room. It is your basement. Your parents are there. They love you so. Look at their lovely faces and their wonderful bright eyes. You are real and full and whole. Their love is all consuming. The wild orbs in their heads stare at you expectantly. They are waiting for you to do your filial and pious duties. But let them finish their meal first. It would be rude to interrupt. Scrumptious. Okay. Well, that was certainly something. Now, before I go to the discussion, for more details, the question we ask is, can I guess the song? And from a code name, We Are Real. And with that story, the story of pressure and not being able to live up to said pressure. I don't have a song for this one. Let's look at the discussion and see if I should have known. The song from the band Silver Jews is called We Are Real. So once again, I did not know the song. I did not have a chance. Damn it. Someone pick a song I know so I have a shot at this. But okay, let's see if there's anything else to say there. Wasn't that the Kronos devouring a child painting? I don't know if that's the name of the piece, but yeah. That is the art piece featured, although also, too, I don't know the name of the photo, the portrait. I forgot. Isn't that Bosch? Hieronymus Bosch's painting, The Garden of Earthly Delights. Is that what it's called? No, not that one. That one. Saturn devouring his son. There we go. By Francisco Goya. There we go. It's not Bosch, it's Goya. My bad. So Saturn devouring his son. Although, my question is that what we call it? Because I think that was a, I believe that painting was found after his death. And so I don't know if we actually know that that was the name. Or if someone else named it that. I don't know. Look at the Wikipedia. That's not what we're here for. But definitely a vibe to use that painting in particular to illustrate the pressure my parents are putting on me is killing me SCP story. Damn. Damn. And SCP author Pupsyok had no real author post to speak of except for saying the song that was there. So, yeah, I think we have the message that's on its face. And we have the song I didn't know. Well, overall, you know, it almost lost me due to the amount of thought forms that took place in the first section. There are many, many of these black boxes with different thoughts, but the exploration log and the insertions afterward saved it for me. So, I'm going to say at the end of the day, it is a +1. I would not mind if a couple of those very, very long list of black boxes were cut to streamline it. But overall, +1. All right, that is the first of our JamCon articles of the day. I am now returning to the chat where I will go over the donations that came in during the first read. We will do a little bit of general Q&A. We are currently, as a time check, at 45 minutes of this 2 to 3 hour stream. And so let's get caught up. Starting by checking the Ko-Fi to make sure I didn't miss any notifications. We are clear there. So 100 stars. Thank you for sending dual sparkles to the Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm sure they enjoyed the Sparkle. Dr. Nightmare Bonnie, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a slice of pizza on your way past the commissary. SCP-999 is 6, so no tests for... It's not a him, it's an it. Please practice proper pronoun parlance protocols at the Foundation. All SCPs are objects, not people. They are its. So no test for it today, Dr. Sherman. I was not told that 999 was sick in any way. Is 999 sick, or are you trying to con me out of putting it through testing so that you can have extra 999 time? Answer. Captain Quacken, thank you for your 8 months as a mobile task force captain here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service, especially the combat data and the epic feats of violence you have occurred to help us win the battle against the white name virus. Someday, we will protect the containment hazard assessment team from that damned white name virus, and the green names will permeate. We will secure and contain and protect the chat. I'm sure of it. Saluting. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful night. There's pizza and milkshakes in the commissary for everyone. Oh, Captain Quacken, thank you for your generosity on that front. Very nice. Also, thank you for sending a marshmallow and an ice cream sundae to the Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am sure those will go great with the pizza and the milkshakes. Amber, thank you for sending a floating heart to the Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm sure they feel the love. I hope everyone has a good rest of their night. I must go. I've been called for another mission. Salute. Well, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as your membership, Captain Quacken. Grab yourself some pizza rolls on your way past the commissary. Aoki, thank you for sending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gold coins to the Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am sure they will utilize those obols for excellent purchases that will help their adventure from Karen the Boatman. Intern Kangame, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a steak sandwich on your way past the commissary. Might make Nathaniel SCP-9999 submission, but I don't know how to write it. But I have the nickname The English Gentleman, able to reason or survive, with the use of SCP sudden hospitality or conversing with. Well, you don't know what the 9999 contest is going to be yet, and so you're going to want to pay attention to that, because the 9999 is going to be a contest in the community. It's going to have a theme. So not every anomaly will work for that, or you'll have to retool your English gentleman pretty substantially to make that work. Not saying it's impossible, I'm just saying keep that in mind. Oh gosh, I remember this guy. Intern Baker, that's correct. I am not dead, I am still here. I am site director of this damn site now. I only get bigger and better as time goes on. Aging like a fine wine. Can I have SCP-662 to destroy SCP-173? Intern El Huerto. We don't destroy anomalies here at the SCP Foundation. We are not the Global Occult Coalition. We do not destroy. We secure, contain, and protect. So obviously not. Get your head on right. Is the Elder Mimic an SCP? Well, intern 1817. My first question is, what is an Elder Mimic? I am unfamiliar with this entity. I'm seeing that it is something from a property called Terminal Rally. Trucidatum Carnis, better known as the Elder Mimic, is a major antagonist of the analog horror web series Vita Carnis. I see. So, here is the scenario you're looking at. Is the elder mimic anomalous? Yes, clearly. Clearly anomalous. No questions asked there. Question 2. Does the elder mimic exist on the SCP Wiki? You don't have to look. I'm going to tell you the answer is no, because I do not believe Vita Carnis is represented on the SCP Wiki in any form. It's not an SCP property because the SCP Wiki does not steal things from other communities. We have to make our own original works. If I look up Vita Carnis on the SCP database, I do not get any hits. And that means that episode 3 of this list, does it have an SCP article written about it, is also false. So although it is anomalous, it is not an SCP. And you can use this test for anything. Anybody can use this test for anything. If you have a question, oh, I wonder if this thing is an SCP. Is it anomalous? Is it on the SCP database? Is it an SCP? Document. Mm. 100 stars. Thank you for sending sparkles to the Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am certain they enjoy the sparkle. Intern Kangame, thank you for donating again to say. But could I get help writing Nathaniel? Because he's also an O5, but is an SCP as it keeps him in check, because we don't want 999 run the facility. But if I could get help writing him, that would be great. Intern Kangame, you're going to run into a big problem there, which is everybody has their own ideas to write and not enough time to write them. I mean, I have a dozen SCP ideas, but I also have several jobs, and I do not have time to write everything I want to write, let alone to write something you want to write. And that's true for most people. Once in a while, you might inspire someone and they might give them an idea that makes them write it. But most likely, the most help you're going to get is a critique process. And the SCP community critique process is quite simple. You write the article yourself as best as you can. You go over it 2 or 3 times, improving it, coming up with better ideas and cleaning up the article, making sure the spelling and grammar is all correct. And then you show it to someone and say, hey, what do you think of this? And they take it and they say, okay, it's all right, but you should fix this, this, and this. And then you go, okay, bet. And then you fix this, this, and this. And then maybe you get more ideas from that and you elaborate some more. Then you show it to someone and they look and they give you critique and then you iterate. And you keep doing this, not with just one person either, with multiple people, until the point where you hand it to someone, they say, oh yeah, that's good. You do not need to clean that up. That is good stuff. And then if you get that green light, you then show it to another person and see if they say it's good, you don't need to fix it anymore. You want to get like 3 to 5 people to say no fixes, post it as is. Furthermore, it's not enough to just ask for critique, because remember, going through an article and critiquing is the same thing that an editor does, a professional editor for work, for money. And so although we're all hobbyists and we all do this for fun, you are asking someone to do work when you ask them to crit you. So you should respond by critiquing their articles as well, helping them to improve their work, which, when you critique people's articles, it makes your work better because you get to be a better writer by grading someone else's paper. It's also just good conscience to not ask for critique unless you've got your spelling, grammar, and formatting on point. If I get an article to critique that's full of typos and flaws in logic and is just basically messy, then I feel kind of like I don't even want to look at this because it seems like you didn't put a lot of effort into it. So you got to earn critique by putting your own elbow grease in to prove that you're worth critiquing. Does that make sense? Suffice it to say, Since I don't know if you, Intern Kangame, have written your own SCP yet at all, you ought to take your Nathaniel character to the greenlight process and make sure that an SCP author looks at it and goes, yeah, this is an idea you should write. Because at least on my end, if I were greenlighting you, I might say your character's a little too overpowered. I don't know if there are flaws or a downside. Because, oh, he's so friendly and he's also an 05. That just sounds like you're making a very overpowered character. Cries and social anxiety and terrible spelling when I don't have help. Well, Aoki, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And remember, you don't have to do it. It is a lot of work, but you don't have to. I mean, you could subsist off the SCP Wiki, making some OCs, making some art, having a good time. You don't need to be canon on the SCP Wiki. But if you want to, you gotta put the work in. I mean, Dr. Lovelace made it work, why can't they? A good example, yes. Dr. Lovelace is on that OP side. Now, Dr. Lovelace does have flaws. Dr. Lovelace as a character is kind of aloof in that socially awkward, I'm not really clingy to things in a super extreme way that causes them to genocide the universe once in a while. So, you know, they're not a full-born Mary Sue in that way. It also helps that Dr. Lovelace is a side character in their own story. The main character, who is going through an arc, who is going through the situation there, is the dude who is the host to Lovelace. You know what I mean? That does make it easier. Mary Sue, Star Trek mentioned. Well, Intern Bottle, we are a fan fiction community. So you gotta imagine there's a lot of fan fiction and trope terms thrown around here. TV tropes will ruin your life, but it'll make it very fun too. Intern Kangame, thank you for donating again. I mean, off the bat, 096 can kill him. I mean, that's not that much of a flaw. That's something everybody has. That's not a personal flaw. As Desk has said, flaws versus OP. Alto Clef, who is one of the biggest Mary Sues on the database, is nerfed by his multiple flaws. Examples, mental health struggles, and self-doubt. So yeah, Clef, although can be Mary Sue in some stories, also is a jerk ass and causes a bunch of trouble as much as causes good things. And like I said, I can't read what your character is or not because I can't read your mind. I can only work off of what have you told me in your chats, and that's just a little bit of this or that. So trust me, I'm only giving a surface level judging of what I'm seeing from a chat through YouTube. I can't really judge too hard or too clearly. So just take my words of advice lightly to guide you away from the bumpers, away from the coasts of the river, so you can keep sailing. Intern Akron, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a jellied donut on your way past the commissary. Despite getting hit by a car a while back. Who got hit with a car a while back? I don't remember who we were talking about in this case that got hit by a car. I mean, are you talking about SCP-2293, which is a phenomena in which media given within a given area that contains any form of dialogue or speech may be subject to alterations, in which it adds the line, Did you know that world-renowned writer Stephen King was once hit by a car? Just something to consider. 2 random pieces of media. If that's what you're talking about, then wow, our stream is infected with SCP-2293. You. Oh, you're talking about the time Dr. Gerald hit me with a car. Specifically, Dr. Gerald threw a car at my head. Man, we work at too eventful a place where I can forget that because so much has happened since. Fucking Gerald. Mm-hmm. All right, let me clear some of these tabs. Damn, I haven't found a stream by Dr. Sherman for a while now. Intern Proto, welcome back. The algorithm has not been favoring us lately. We have been a little bit downstream of what we usually are, but, you know, the algorithm works in waves, so we're just chumming along. Suffice it to say, good to have you back. Intern Kangame, thank you for donating again to say, any good authors I can go to for my SCP? The best way you're going to get critique in the SCP community is 2 ways. Number 1, you can guarantee getting some critique if you go to the critique forum / the critique channel of the official SCP Discord server. However, that's going to be limited to the critique staff of the SCP Wiki, who get a lot of submissions, and there are very few in number by comparison. Now, from the other perspective, if you hang out in spaces with SCP authors and befriend them and critique their works when they ask for critique, and chit chat and make jokes and be a general congenial person, eventually you will be able to ask them for critique because now you're friends and you can trade with them. Dr. Sherman disappeared for 3 years for me. Oh, intern Skylar, it's so good to have you back. The algorithms, man, we're doing our best, putting ourselves on all platforms, but you never know how the winds are going to change on these high seas. 100 stars. Thank you for sending a star to the Containment Hazard Assessment Team. I'm sure they enjoy its twinkle. Aoki, thank you for sending a sparkles and a star to the Containment Hazard Assessment Team. I'm sure they enjoy the sparkles and the twinkle. And then Oswald, thank you for sending a star to the Containment Hazard Assessment Team. I hope you have a personal enjoyment that they enjoy the twinkling of that star. Can you tell me something about Abel, SCP-076? Intern Anielo. What I can tell you is that Abel is not SCP-076. Actually, Abel is SCP-076-2, with SCP-076-1 being the sarcophagus that Abel respawns from. Fun facts. Dr. Sherman, really important question. If I randomly teleport every second, what would happen if I looked at Shy Guy? Intern Beecham, I want you to tell me why that was a really important question. Justify yourself. Why was that a really important question? Now, the answer is quite simple. 096 would chase you wherever you teleported to. And one of those times, you are going to randomly teleport right next to SCP-096, because statistically speaking, there's a whole world, but eventually one of those seconds you're going to land next to OC-96 and get got. Hey, it's the king. Well, Intern Guzman, I am a site director here at Site 42. I wouldn't call myself a king, although for some of you who are a bit of slacking on the job, I might be a royal pain in your ass. Make sure you get to work. All right, Site 42 staff. The 67-minute mark of today's stream as a time check. We were going for 2 to 3 hours today. I'm going to take us into our second reading from This Is My Jam Con. And so, allow me to come over to the next SCP article from JamCon. This is my JamCon article from SCP author Uncle Nicolini, who I am known for enjoying a good Nico article. This is... I got nothing but... Dark Sushi file number 726. Codename Cory Roll. What the hell do you mean, Dark Sushi file? Dark Sushi. Strongest invincible sushi. What? What is this? I know nothing about Dark Invincible Sushi. This is news to me completely. I am so confused. Also, those Cory rolls were just ice cubes. Why are the Cory rolls ice cubes? Is this a JoJo reference? I don't know, Intern Corvus. I don't know JoJo. I think I need to start doing, I think I need to get into JoJo just so I get the references. Sheesh. Okay. Dark Sushi file number 726, codename Cory Roll. Overview. The Cory Roll is a new invention in sushi blading form, created by sushi bladers who have fallen on hard times and can no longer afford to waste the shari water or fish stock. This breakthrough invention recycles water and stock used in the cooking of shari by reserving the liquid and freezing it into cube form. Though the main ingredient of the Cory roll is water/stock, it still contains trace elements of shari and fish, which serve as a focal point for sushi bladers to channel rotation. Again, these are trace elements of these ingredients, which make them unstable at best, not to mention the limited temperature conditions in which Cory may be used to begin with. Definitely not a good beginning sushi blader sushi, that's for certain. And there is a statistic graph where this is a high defense, high weight sushi that is also moderate in attack and then weak in speed, stamina, and very weak in usability? What? Why? What is sushi blading? I'm so lost. This fucking website. SCP Wiki, why? What are we doing? Okay. Next section. Sushi blade usage. As previously mentioned, Kori rolls are difficult to pilot. They also lack the generally robust profile of a mab-maki or waniika nigiri rolls. Hell, some might even find using paella marinara more easy than Kori. But there's nothing quite as rewarding as defeating an opponent with a well-thought-out strategy, powerful rotation, and the underdog that is a Kori roll. Though their attack is modest, these rolls boast a hidden secret. Utilizing its superior defense stat, Kori rolls can overcome most other sushi blading techniques, barring all-out offensive sushi blading techniques such as suisami rolls. Furthermore, the fact that Kori rolls are solid, or at least more solid than most other sushi blading methods, allows them to sustain more hits and possibly outlast the opposing sushi. It is, of course, weak to warm/hot sushi blading techniques, so know your matchups ahead of time. Which of these 4 different sushi rolls, the mab-maki, that's for the Fey folk, Jesus, the waniika nigiri, the paella marinara, or the suisami rolls, which of those is going to tell me why the hell this exists in the first place? Other usage. Due to the minimal skill required to create one, Kori are excellent learning tools for those who want to get into the art. Again, it cannot be stressed enough that these rolls are difficult to rotate properly, and even in the best of circumstances are hard to make work properly, so they are not good for actually practicing rotation. Kori rolls will also make for a crunchy, albeit cold snack in a pinch. I invite you, Master Sakamoto, to come see for yourself. Author, O'Shea Jackson. Episode. The next section is titled Episode. Footnote. The footnote comes after I as a member of the Sume-CI, which footnotes to sortation, utilization, maintaining, and energy commitment of the Invincibles. Was called to Westmont from my hometown of Kanazawa because of promising claims in the sushi blading field in a far-off land. My voyage to California was lengthy, thanks in part to Niurai Sightseeing's poor scheduling. But I'm not here to complain about my sponsor. I'm here to see if there's any merit to this Jackson's Kori rolls. I am no stranger to the blade and unusual. I am no stranger to the strange and unusual. I don't know why I said that. I am no stranger to the strange and unusual, especially not when it comes to sushi blading. I have seen radioactive sushi, blazing sushi, esophysical sushi, and even conceptual sushi. The process by which Jackson described making his sushi is nothing new, but I am surprised no one has thought of it before. I arrived at the agreed upon location in Westmont, a tiny home in what my Gaikokujin readers might refer to as the other side of the tracks. Footnote. I would like to thank Tateyuki Hirosui-kun from Koigarizaki Shimbun, who I met on the plane, for teaching me this phrase. I was met with 2 luxury vehicles parked outside. One was more modest, but the other was a gaudy purple and gold thing with a vanity plate that read Chef CA. I wonder what the point of the ugly one was. Before I can spend too much time thinking on it, someone who appeared familiar, but I could not place, exited the domicile. The stranger introduced himself as simply Chaz, a most unusual name. Oh no, is that Chaz Ambrose? I was worried because it was a food thing. I thought it was going to be an Ambrose thing. And it doesn't seem to be, but any Chaz, I worry it's Ambrose. And he said he would be showing me the Kori rolls instead of Jackson. I asked what had happened to Jackson, and Chaz, in hindsight, acted a bit suspiciously and simply urged me into the house. Upon entering, I noted a trail of scarlet leading to the kitchen, which appeared to be covered in plastic and sealed off. I asked Chaz what happened there, and he said he had been attacked prior to my arrival. He seemed fine, but I was starting to feel uneasy around Chaz. I asked him to show me the Kori roll sushi blade technique, and he smiled the most tooth-filled smile I have ever seen, like a wolf. Chaz then sat me down on the couch before going into the kitchen and leaving me alone in the living room. Trying to soothe my edge, I looked around. There was a consistently appearing man throughout the photos strewn about, presumably Jackson. I picked up the frame on the coffee table in front of me and took a good look. And here is the photograph in question. I don't know. Do you recognize any of those faces? Our narrator here says, I did not recognize him. Chaz was waiting a long time and I could hear Chaz was taking a long time and I could hear him mumbling from the kitchen. Too long. Was he not prepared? I stood up and tiptoed over to the portal, moving aside the plastic to peer in. What I saw then was a scene of sheer carnage. The man for the photos lay dead on the kitchen island, his blood drained and flesh and organs missing. In the corner, I could see Chaz chewing on something, his hand covered in blood. The freezer was open, and a tray of red Cory were visible to me from within. I almost retched. My hair stood on end. I finally realized who this Chaz man was. This was renowned celebrity chef Chaz Ambrose of Ambrose Restaurants. Obviously. He had recently become obsessed with sushi blading and hyperfixated on becoming a sushi blader. I ran as fast as my feet could carry me, and Chaz chased after me. I could hear him for hours after I had by some miracle outran him. Sakamoto-sensei, please! I want a sushi blade too! I can rotate sushi! Let me show you! I came back to Japan as soon as I could. Near-eye sightseeing be damned. So for now, my devoted readers, the sushi blading technique remains unreviewed. Perhaps another time. And to Chaz Ambrose, let's not meet. Author, Sakamoto. Related documents. Sushi in Foreign Lands, the evolution of sushi in the West. The Global Occult Coalition believes that ramen is practically sushi, which caused a domino effect. And Dark Sushi File number 120, Mab Maki. So the first two linked me to other pages on the database. But the first one, Sushi in Foreign Lands, isn't opening for me. Suffice it to say, what in the hell? All right, give me a hub on sushi blading. What the hell is sushi blading? Where is this? What is this? I don't understand. From my short research, this comes from a group of interests brought over through translation via Uncle Nicolini. 3 people have written for this sushi group. This qualifies for a hub, LOL. Interesting. All right, well, we have developed by Dark Sushi. Okay, here we go. Group of interest. Overview. Dark Sushi is a group of sushi chefs who deal primarily with food-related anomalies. The organizational structure is similar to a chain or goodwill in the restaurant industry and consists of plural restaurants and employees per restaurant. Several members have similar anomalies to SCP-1134-JP. However, the sushi used by Dark Sushi includes foods that are generally not classified as sushi, and the anomaly of 1134-JP-1 generated from such food is unpredictable. Moreover, the members are actively expanding and developing technology related to 1134-JP-1. The origins of Dark Sushi, such as the date of its founding and founder, are unclear, but the current leader has been identified as the person called Yami. Footnote, Yami means dark. While details of the organization policy are unknown, research suggests the group has some sort of dissatisfaction with traditional sushi eating culture. Dark Sushi has rapidly grown in strength in recent years in the paranormal food products community, and this may be accomplished through the unusual psychological manipulation techniques possessed by the group. Additionally, most members tend to have no qualms about using violent and heavy-handed means. The Foundation remains vigilant for the Dark Sushi, which actively links with other groups of interest as they grow up. All right, so that is that's a lot. Listen. Is it a song by Ice Cube? Or is it Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice? Which song is it? Since I can't name an Ice Cube song off the top of my head because I am uncultured, I'm gonna have to guess Ice Ice Baby. It's not Ice Ice Baby, but I'm locking in Ice Ice Baby. Give me the luck. Give me the luck. All right, Uncle Nicolini's author post. Hi everyone. This was written for my JamCon, or this is my JamCon, where I got the absolute anxiety-inducing song "Under Ice" by the immensely talented Kate Bush. Okay, I did not know Under Ice by Kate Bush. At least I've heard of Kate Bush. This is the first frickin' article with a musical artist I've at least heard of. So at least we're closer to me possibly being able to guess one eventually. But we're not there yet. The cards were rigged from the start. I never had a chance. This song, as previously mentioned, gives me anxiety, so I felt bad after listening to it on loop for a day, and felt even worse because the original article I wanted to write was proving impossible because of the lack of available information on the subject matter I originally wanted to tackle. So instead I wrote this, which is both sillier and somehow equally as weird as my original idea. Well, huh. Okay. Well, it is pretty weird. I have no problem with the article. I will give it an upvote, bringing it to a plus 42 ranking. The best number. You're welcome. And then I will return to the chat. And as a time check, we are currently at 82 minutes of this 2 to 3 hour stream. We will now catch up on donations, have a little general Q&A before moving on to the third reading of today's stream. So let me catch up to where I was. Sleepless Dragon, thank you for sending a star to the Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am sure they will enjoy its gentle twinkle. Blue Phantom, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a popsicle on your way past the commissary. Help one of the interns put 999 in a giant shark jello mold, and the shark punching center is after it now. I'm trying to explain it as 999, not a shark. Also, how is your day? Listen, you and one of the interns that did that deserve the bloody nose you're going to get for your crimes. You were tempting fate there, and you knew it. Very, very silly plan. Bad plotting. Give the Shark Punching Center my apologies on your behalf, and deal with those bloody noses. Intern Kangame, thank you for donating again to say, oh, was that Ice Cube? I do believe that was Ice Cube. Researcher Leuna, thank you for your 9 months as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. Hey Doc, could we digitize SCP-682 into SCP-1633? Well, first I'll check the the extermination log. To see if we have tried that. Because we've tried a lot of things to 682. I believe you said 1633, and we did not try that on 682. The next question is, what is 1633? Because I do not know that document off the top of my head. Codename the most dangerous video game. Computer game created by now defunct independent game studio Redacted. Foundation possesses a beta version. Core gameplay is relatively complete, but numerous incomplete aspects. Major selling point in the game's pre-release advertising are tactical heuristic algorithms. After a player saves their game and quits, a background process will begin running on the player's computer. When the process completes, either a new file is created in the same folder as the player's save game with the file extension PTD, or an existing PTD file is updated. When a player loads an existing save game with an associated PTD file, enemies in the game will be more intelligent and effective, with the increase approximately proportionate to the total amount of time spent playing. Initially, this will result in more challenging game experience, with the enemies adapting to players' preferred weapons, strategies, and overall playstyle. However, given enough time, enemies will become aware of the existence of the player and begin to attack him or her rather than characters in the game. How does a player in a computer attack the player? Enemies may position themselves to block the player's view. Enemies have been seen acting in a glitched manner, waiting for the player to dismiss them as a threat and then attack them when their back's turned. Enemies use multiple day flash spells in every engagement, causing a strobing pattern which caused a seizure. Oops. They will also do psychological warfare. Do you have any... Has someone been digitized into this game before, or are you just coming up with ideas here? Third session, glitches. Leuna, I don't see anything about 1633 sucking people into it or digitizing people into it, but I'm only skimming. It doesn't... Did you... Is that part of the article and I'm just skimming it and I'm not seeing that detail? Because if it's not, then I don't see a reason how we would. You know what I mean? Hey, Doc. Long time no see. Well, welcome back, Intern Dronster. I was just wondering if you have any tips for writing an SCP article. I finally got around to making an account and planning to writing my first one. Well, you should check out the video on the channel called SCP Writing Tips for SCP Writers. That is a compilation of short SCP writing tips. But for Dr. Sherman's writing tip of the day, I would recommend... Write your story as a story first, like a traditional novel, and then take the details and wedge them into the SCP format, which is more restrictive. That way, you have all the backstory and everything you need to know, and the exciting thing happens. And then you can put that in the description, in the special containment procedures, in the exploration log, discovery log, etc. Researcher Leuna, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. As well as being a member, grab yourself a croissant on your way past the commissary, and you said it was just an idea, I don't know every file. Okay, so I don't see anything in there that says that you can stick things into the game. Therefore, I do not see that being a possibility. Sherman Pot Pie, that is a... Well, at least that's a unique nickname. Have you heard of Bendy and the Ink Machine and Bendy and the something Dark Revival? Dark Revival. I have heard of them, yes. I am modestly familiar. Likes above the viewers. Well, Dr. Frogman, when we're only at 12 viewers, I don't see that as a huge achievement, unfortunately. Man, the algorithm is kicking us these days. Although, I must say, Mobile Task Force Sci 42, you are still hitting that like button, and maybe that'll bring us back. We had something like 100 earlier. Why Not Guitar? Thank you for your first and incredibly generous donation to today's stream. Especially when the algorithm is kicking us in the chin like it is right now. We definitely appreciate the support, myself and the rest of the Site 42 staff. On your way past the commissary, I want you to head over to the gymnasium on the 7th floor east wing. There, I want you to go over to the vending machine. There is a Nuka-Cola vending machine. And I want you to enter the numbers on the data pad 642642. It will spawn you a free Nuka-Cola Quantum. Usually, that vending machine, it's odd that we have a Foundation vending machine that takes 1,000 credits to purchase. But, Nuka-Cola Quantum is quite an expensive beverage, and its side effects are, well, rather helpful. So I do hope at least you are going to grab and make good use of this product. Thank you for your incredible generosity again. Hope things are good. Love to stay, but an intern drove a transport into a frictionless surface in the shop, so wish us luck. Well, at least it wasn't SCP-999 stealing a fucking truck again. And it could have been much worse. It could have been Gerald again. Dakota, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself an omelette de fromage on your way past the commissary. Remember, Dr. Sherman, we can do all sorts of things through caffeine and spite. You're damned right we can. Sleepless Dragon, thank you for sending 6 doubloons to the Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am sure they will enjoy what they purchased with those doubloons. Why not destroy every IKEA now there's no SCP-3008? Intern Jeff the Chef, I can tell you haven't read the documentation for SCP-3008. The SCP-3008 Infinite IKEA is essentially an alternate universe / dimension that is only accessible through one door in one IKEA that we have closed and locked down. So every IKEA on Earth that we know of doesn't lead to the Infinite IKEA space. Furthermore, if you go in the IKEA that we do know, if you go in any door besides the front door, you go into the normal IKEA, not the Infinite IKEA. Furthermore, if you break through a wall from the outside to get into the IKEA, you're just in the normal IKEA space, not the Infinite IKEA. So, no, destroying every IKEA on Earth will do nothing to the Infinite IKEA dimension. Sleepless Dragon, thank you for sending 20 sparkles to the Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am sure that they are blinded by the light, reflecting off of all of those sparkles. SCP-2305 says that if we destroy IKEA, then 3008 will take over Walmart. You're kidding. You must be joking. 2305. Codename Great Ideas That Are Totally Useless Lulls. Sheaf of U.S. letter paper stapled in the top left corner, written on the front page in black permanent marker, are the words Great Ideas That Are Totally Useless in large letters. Once weekly, the contents of 2305 will be altered with a new instance of -A. So it says that it will not work. Hold on, I'm going to or no, it says that if we destroy 3008 that it's going to take over Walmart because that's why it failed. I see what you're saying. Purchase the IKEA Corporation using multiple foundation fronts, liquidate the corporation, shut down all IKEA facilities, then use controlled demolition to destroy 3008 and all other IKEA buildings. Result of neutralization attempt. Multiple Walmart buildings become SCP-3008 instances. Testimony of escaping survivors indicate the interior of -1 gradually shifted to become Walmart-like, and any -2 instances with these shifted spaces also wore blue shirts and slacks typical of Walmart employees. The instances became significantly more aggressive even during the hours the lights were on. Drones sent to -1 now show a space similar to an infinitely sized Walmart, in which -2 instances will randomly destroy the shelving and retail materials contained within. No human survivors have been found. Moral of the story: if you destroy something's habitat, it will find new hunting grounds. Well, the SCP-2305 and its accompanying extended log seem like a wonderful story prompt factory that you should probably check out. It could give you multiple crossover events with different SCPs, or what-if scenarios, I should say. Not crossovers, what-if scenarios. Very interesting. 100 stars. Thank you for sending a sparkle and a star and a star and a sparkle and a star and a sparkle to the chat. I am sure they appreciate the sparkles and the twinkles. How do you write an article with sub-entities in mind? For example, if SCP-123 is a guy and SCP-123-A is a hat it wears, do I make them separate articles that reference each other or just one article? Intern Dronster, I'm going to recommend, because you asked for writing tips earlier, you really need to read more SCP articles so that you can understand the formatting here. You don't want to get into writing SCPs without having read a ton of them, so that kind of question is already answered in your mind. For instance, in SCP-076, which we spoke about earlier, the -1 is the sarcophagus within that spawns Abel, which is the -2. And so, of course, they're both part of the same SCP article because they are related anomalies. They're part of the same anomalous process. So my next advice to you is you really need to read a lot more SCPs before you try to start to write your own. That way you know what you're getting into. Wait, Sherman started a cult? What did I miss? I like how Dr. Sherman goes, I'm not a king today, but yesterday he went, yeah, you could say I'm a cult leader. By accident, because we were talking about Scientology speedruns. Well, yes, if you're going to be in a cult, then Scientology speedruns, mocking Scientology is wonderful. Allegedly, I would not advocate for crimes. I would not advocate for crimes. Don't do crimes. Crimes are bad. But also, the cult of Dr. Sherman is a better cult than Scientology.
Says do crimes. Honk do crimes.
And Puppy of Interest 42, codename Charlie. has returned.
Be gay, do crime.
And intern Cupcake Bird. Why the blue hair? Because it looks fucking sweet, bro. I'm sorry, you got a problem with my fashion? Why you so weird? Puppy of Interest gets 2 treats now since she didn't get one from you earlier. Very sweetie pumpkin energy coming right over here.
Froy, I said do crime. I said be gay, do crime. There was no don't in there.
I, the person running the stream, am saying don't do crimes. And we will not be held liable for the crimes. Legal purposes, no crime. Intern Kangame, thank you for donating again to say, if it makes you feel better, Nathaniel has white curly hair. Well, very fashionable. An elder gent. I can respect it. Aren't pets considered a security hazard of the site? Why would you think that, Intern Magnus? I mean, Josie the half cat gets to wander the site freely. No, certain anomalies get free roam. It's fine. Obviously, we vet that process pretty thoroughly. Would you recommend listening to readings of SCP articles or reading them yourself? Intern Drawnster, I would suggest both. Because obviously, if you're on the go, listening is good, especially listening is great for people who are visually impaired. Listening is great for people who are on the go and they can't read. Listen to them while you're doing your laundry. I mean, we have a playlist of over 500 different SCP readings that you can go through. But if you plan on writing them, I do recommend reading them on the site because you want the visual to learn the format as well. I'm also going to recommend to you specifically, Drawnster, as well as anybody who wants to learn to write SCPs, a series of videos by friend of the channel and your favorite SCP YouTuber's favorite SCP YouTuber, Radiger. Radiger has a new series of articles. So this is Radiger. Go to her channel, enjoy her work. The new video is open to the public. This video is talking about why articles get deleted really quickly on the wiki, what they did wrong, and how you can be better than them. So this is a very important new video of Radiger's to check out. Let's listen to the intro. I'm sure it will be very academic and easy to understand.
Home to the best short-form horror fiction on the entire internet. A very serious place for very serious writers who only write about very serious things. This isn't your dad's fan fiction website. This is real literature for intellectuals. And we don't tolerate bad writing. If you're a bad writer, you better get out of here. Because we're all good writers with taste. Every day we get a million bad articles. Real shit that nobody likes. And we laugh to ourselves as we downvote and delete the pages of these losers who don't write good. Today I'm gonna be absolutely destroying some crappy bad cold posts by dork losers who like SCP. I'm just kidding. Oh my god. Could you?
Okay. Yes, it's too quiet because my tech for playing videos is literally aiming the camera at the screen. It's not great. We're doing our best with limitations. But that is the joking intro of Radiger's video breaking down why certain posts don't even make it 48 hours on the database. Alongside that video, the most recent releases from Radiger are a list of 3 videos critically breaking down why certain SCPs are very, very good writing. You should watch Radiger's videos on breaking down those SCPs to train your critical eye on understanding what qualities work within the SCP format and those that don't, so you can be a better writer. Also, subscribe to Rad and become a Patreon patron. I watched that video a week ago because I'm early access to Radiger. You should be doing the same. Intern Kangame, thank you for donating again to say. Elder? Nathaniel's in his 20s to 30s. He's quite young. Oh, my mistake. I just heard curly white hair and also an English gentleman. And I figured that would be an older bloke, especially as an overseer. Because you gotta remember, age at the foundation and experience is still important. You're not gonna be an overseer in your 20s to 30s. Maybe 35 to 45 going to 50. Because, sheesh, you gotta be the best of the best of the best. Me being a site director at around 40 is sensible. And even then, I get kidded on all the time because I have a baby face. So everyone's like, are you old enough to be a site director? Which is rude. I am old enough. Fuck you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Time check, please. Junior Researcher HLG, we are currently in a 2 to 3 hour stream. We are currently at 13 minutes to 2 hours. Now, what that means is that we have definitely got to read the next article from This Is My JamCon so that we don't run out of time. And so this is a perfect time to start doing the third reading, which I guess Dr. Sumerian will be missing, but we are reading the 9th place entry from This Is My JamCon called The Ending Is There Is No Ending, a tale by Dr. Sumerian. Now, my first instinct coming upon this is I'm having a laugh because I am a big fan of The Stanley Parable. And so I see the end is never the end, 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 is never the end. And this is the ending is there is no ending. So, All right, but let's look into what the ending is there is no ending. Now already the title by song choice, I have no idea. I don't know what song that could be, except for like one song that goes, "This is the end, my friend." And I know that one line, not the rest of the song. So I don't know that song, and I don't think that's going to be it. But let's read the article before we start thinking it. All right, so this is a first-person piece. There is no formatting to be spoken of, so I'm just going to read this in character. I've forgotten. That is possibly the most dangerous phrase you can hear working in amnestics. The SCP Foundation makes 1,000 people forget 1,000 things a year, and not once does it strike the victims to notice. Knowing what you don't know is a crack in the system. So whenever we heard it, we worked to find the cause. Eventually, we built this place, and a dozen more like it across the world. Villages for people who've forgotten their lives, their friends, their families. A place to live when you barely remember being alive. At first, we tried to keep the patients from leaving. That was a losing game from the start, and we learned our lessons from the non-anomalous world. We built places like this bus stop. Easy enough. Someone wants to leave, send them to the bus stop. They'll sit, they'll wait, they'll forget why they're sitting there, and then they'll wander back to their home. No violence, no fear, no arguments. Just to wait for an escape that's never, ever coming. I don't want you to get the idea that what we've done here is altruistic. This is wholly our fault. Neurodegenerative disorders affect almost 50% of Foundation employees who reach the age of 60. It's well above the background statistics for the rest of the world. And it's because of something I invented in my better days. In 1981, we classified our first cognitohazardous anomaly. Part of that was just the proliferation of worldwide media. It's easier to spread a dangerous meme if everyone's watching television. Cognitohazards certainly existed before that, but were rare enough that we didn't have a specific standard to apply to them. Then, the 90s hit. The internet made it so much worse. We were seeing full-on cognitive epidemics. So we started work in 1996 on some sort of solution. The first tests were crude, but given the danger to the patients we'd selected, any solutions were preferable. At first, we tried cutting the neocortex of the brain out completely. We reasoned that if a man couldn't remember what was making him sick, then he wouldn't be sick anymore. It did work, but obviously the quality of life for someone incapable of forming long-term memories isn't very high. We knew it wasn't the best way to solve the problem, but we also knew it was a good first step. It was myself who first came upon the idea of targeted amnestics. There's an anomaly we used for the early trials. Can't recall the number, but it was capable of identifying exactly what part of the brain held a specific memory. We used that to directly target our surgeries. It wasn't perfect, again, but a man could function mostly well with only a tiny bit of brain missing. We knew it wouldn't work on a widespread scale, and we knew it'd have long-term consequences we didn't understand. But that didn't stop the trials. People were dying from their memories, so anything we did to save them was good, right? The first targeted amnestic drugs came out in 2004. They mixed a bit of magic and science to directly find and kill the parts of the brain carrying a specific memory. No more surgery needed. By then, the O5s had started paying attention. If we could kill any memory, and we could do it non-invasively, then surely the secrecy of the anomalous world could be preserved through the use of these drugs, right? It was so easy. We started with our own staff. Compartmentalizing data was so much simpler after that. You could bring in an expert in a field to consult on an anomaly they didn't have permanent clearance on, and then afterwards wipe their memories entirely of the project. Then we started using it on civilians. Man on some back road spots Bigfoot, take his camera, wipe his memory. I knew one guy in my department who wiped the memory of the original Star Wars trilogy from his mind just so we could rewatch it. And you know the funniest part? As an adult, he just thought it was okay. I don't think we're ever going to fully understand how memory works, but that guy was our first real problem. See, the further back a memory goes, the more it shapes the memories that come after. Worse yet, what about the times you remember the memory? Gone. Now say you want to wipe out all memory of an ex-girlfriend. Okay, so you erase the relationship. But what about the time you spent pining afterwards? Or the lessons you learned from it about what not to do, and how to avoid the same mistakes in your current relationship? What about how your experience in the past led you to function now? The drug doesn't care. If we tell it to cut out the girlfriend, it's going to cut her out entirely. That guy was our first experience with amnestic influence neurodegeneration. He'd been popping amnestics against policy, mind you, for 2 years straight by that point. I watched him die while still walking around and laughing. His wife cried after every visit. Eventually, she stopped coming at all. Near the end, he experienced something that we call terminal lucidity. Quite often with patients, we observe a huge jump in cognitive capability and memory recall in the last few days. It can last for minutes or even a couple of days. But it almost always happens just before they die. He looked at me dead in the eyes and told me, We fucked this up. We fucked the whole thing up. And I want you to know this wasn't some idle thought. This was a man I'd known for years, finally alive again, and telling me what he thought about our lives' work. Most of us in the department have been using amnestics for years too. Not as much as him, but enough. We stopped after he first got sick. But by then, most of the damage was done, I suspect. Then the director of Project Phoenix told us to make an aerosolized version for worldwide deployment. And we followed orders. I was sure a single application wouldn't be a problem. All the while, some of our resources were trying to determine what the safe dosage was. After Project Phoenix came Project Basilisk. Then it was Griffin. And then Kraken. And on and on. I legitimately can't recall how many worldwide amnestic doses we deployed. We eventually determined that there is no such thing as a safe dosage of amnestics. Short-term side effects are minimal, but memory and behavioral issues will follow you for the rest of your life. Nearly every Foundation employee has been dosed at least once. And worse yet, because of how it works, some people don't even know they've been dosed at all. They keep much better records now for obvious reasons. But some people have no idea how damaged they are. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. I'm going to collect my thoughts while we wait. Okay. Well, if you happen to have a personal issue and problem with Alzheimer's, that's fucking terrible, and I hate it. Thanks, Sim. So, for song, once again, I know a lot of songs about memory, but this one doesn't speak to any of them. Because I could go, Memory by Sugar Cult is about a relationship. That's not this. I Can't Remember to Forget You is another relationship thing. Memories by Maroon 5 is not this. All right. I don't have a good guess for this. And yet I have a feeling, based on Cimmerian's past work, that this is one of the more likely ones I might know the song he's got. Well, he didn't pick the song. He didn't pick the song. The song Cimmerian picked would be the one I'm most likely to get because I get a lot of Sims pop culture references. Oh, man, okay. I don't know what it is. I can't even logic guess. Thanks for the Memories by Fall Out Boy. No. I can't think of a good one. So, all right, I'm going to open this, and it's going to hurt my feelings probably. Let's see what we got. Dr. Cimmerian says that it is based on The Only House That's Not on Fire Yet by Lemon Demon. Okay, I was never going to get that. I know one Lemon Demon song. I did not know that one. So I waffled a bit on this. I got The Only House That's Not on Fire Yet for This Is My Jam Con. I wasn't much of a fan of the original, it's certainly alright, but I did find a cover here I could kind of jam to. And the cover is by OK Glass. I originally had a different concept in mind, but nothing about it really grabbed me. So I wrote this that I decided to wait until the contest entry period was over because I was uninterested in any of the prizes, or the stress of contest watching, or trying to compete with SCPs while writing a tale. Nice. So I submitted but didn't try to win. Very noble of you, Sumerian. All right, so once again, I was never going to get that song, so I feel less bad. All right. We are currently at the 2-hour mark of stream. My eye is definitely looking and feeling better, which is good news. We can go. We'll see how we go in the next. We might make it for the full next hour, and we might even read some more SCPs from the con because we already got through 3 of them. But for now, we'll return to the general Q&A and the donations, and we'll move on from there. So, returning to the chat. Intern Brandon, thank you for sending 3 good luck have funds and 1 press F to the Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am sure they will in fact have good fortune and an enjoyable time, times 3, and they will pay respects. Intern Dax raises a time check. As I just said, we are 2 hours into what will be a 3-hour stream. Dr. Sherman, what's the one Lemon Demon song you know? Now I'm trying to remember if it even is Lemon Demon. The only Lemon Demon song I know is The Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny, because I am a millennial, and that is a early internet funny meme music video animation. Haven't checked into this channel for a while, and I'm loving the hair. Well, thank you, intern Snedwich. We are working out a plan for the next coloration. I've got a pretty cool idea slated for the next color swap. Look forward to it. Doctors, when am I going to be fed? SCP-682. I don't know how you got a cell phone in your chamber, but feeding time has already been done for today. You will have to wait until tomorrow. That's right. 682 doesn't even get fed because you feed on your own detritus that's burned off in the acid. So you're already being fed as we speak. Calm yourself. Researcher Camro, thank you for your first month as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. What is the protocol for a sick SCP? Well, that depends on the anomaly. We need to secure it, make sure that it is not dangerous to medical staff. If it is not dangerous, then medical staff can attempt to treat it, paying special attention to the anomalous aspects of the entity. That way, they do not accidentally trigger a problem. But since we want to keep the anomalies alive so we can study them, we do make sure they survive any illnesses to the best of our ability. Dr. Sherman, I look at a weird 4-pixel picture and now I hear screaming. Intern Yellow. What do you mean you looked at a 4-pixel picture? How big would a 4-pixel be as a picture? That's like the tiniest photograph I've ever heard of. You did not. Don't lie to me and my containment hazard assessment team. It's a disciplinary demerit. Dr. Sherman, I don't think you've uploaded long form recently. Is there a reason, or are you working on a big one? Junior Researcher HLG, it's a combination of A, I'm still being a perfectionist with scripts for the X is Not an SCP series. I'm actually reaching out for help writing some of those, so because I've become so strict about it that I think I'm stifling myself. I really need to just put some content out the door there. We're working on studio build to get more TikTok shorts and stuff like that. And then, what's the brain looking for? Beyond that, the rehab for my ankle and the process of getting back into shape after that, as well as the daily streams, has taken up a lot of my time. So, right now, streams are doing pretty damn well, and I'm hesitant to stop the daily streams to go back to long form, considering shorts and streams are doing well for the channel overall. So, it's a balancing act that I haven't quite spun all the plates well enough yet. What is your opinion on SCP-049? Intern 4055, I think it's a kook. I don't think there's a pestilence. I think it's insane. Also, I don't like that it kills people, especially my friends on staff. Ahem, ahem. Good eve, ocean-haired fellow. How dost thou do? Sir Aguasheik. It has been a while, good sir. Welcome back. Hope you've been doing okay. You're still going through rehab for your ankle? Damn. Well, I got wanting to continue daily streams and stuff like that. I wish you luck on the scripts. Yeah, it's still a lot of rehab because, I teach dance as my cover job, which means every weekend I'm dancing on it. And so I've got to balance the strength training and the rehab and the stretching with the fact that I work on my foot. So it's definitely delayed recovery, which is not great. But we're little by little better and better. Dr. Sherman, reminder, you want to tell me about that one afterlife from last stream. Oh, Intern Sprite, you must have ducked out a stream, because I did. It was codename Row. We talked about it. We actually read it because it's so short. And because Row only accidentally brings up Roblox, you need to look up Row in quotation marks to find out that it's SCP-6435. SCP-6435, I want you to look into it, but we talked about it yesterday. Your eye is looking much better than it did at the start of stream, so that's good. Yes, that is very nice for me, both visually and feeling-wise. Dr. Sherman, have you ever watched the Hatchetfield musicals by Starkid? No, Intern Dronster, I have not. Although I am quite familiar with the Harry Potter musicals. I still appreciate them for what Starkid did and not for what Joanne Turfling did. And then for Starkid, Twisted is a masterpiece. And what's the one with the cavemen? I don't remember the name of it. Firebringer, Firestarter, Firebringer, Fire something. Those are the ones that I know. There is a satirist that I follow whose real job is a tennis coach, and he broke his leg. Fuck. Yeah, no. Teaching a sport where you're supposed to move while you're laid up sucks. Sorry, I goofed. I mean, I look at this picture of a guy standing on a snowy mountain. I looked into a circle that was pointing at something. Oh, it was a pick of 096. Yeah, I am dead. Yep. You're gone, Ski. Shame about it. Shouldn't be looking at weird mountain pictures. You know how it is around here. Could you consider Pokemon as SCPs? Well, intern Magnus, what I would say is that A, Pokemon is only anomalous in our world. In Pokemon's world, they are non-anomalous. They are as natural as animals. So therefore, in the Pokemon world, they are not seen as anomalies. But if Pokemon showed up in our world, that would be rather anomalous. Now, they do exist on the SCP document, not as SCPs themselves, but there are several Pokemon-related SCPs. SCP-5254 is Pokemon merchandise that turns you into the Pokemon featured on the merchandise. And so SCP-5254, you get turned into Pokemon. SCP-2466 is a text-based game in which the user battles against an instance of Mega Charizard X, a character from the Pokemon franchise. So it is an anomalous, and then if you get attacked by the Mega Charizard, apparently things happen to you, which is not good. No. Every move executed by 2466-1's instance of Mega Charizard X compels 12 random residents of Redacted City, California, to engage in activities that correspond to the selected move. Mega Charizard X can use the moves Dragon Dance, Roost, Flare Blitz, and Dragon Claw. When using Roost, each of the people compelled entered a tree. When it used Flare Blitz, each member acquired a jack-o'-lantern, which they ignited and threw at targets. Huh. So yes, there are multiple SCPs related to the Pokemon. Would you ever consider having another discussion with 049? It's not that bad personality-wise. Intern Sterena. I am still frustrated at 049 for its murdering of my buddy Ray. But that said, I have to interact with 049 once in a while over the course of my duties, and I try to remain impartial. 049 is also taken to being very frustrating in its behavior, such as when it steals SCP-113, the gender-switching stone, and then does TikTok dances in my office to annoy me. Dr. Sherman, are there any non-Shark Punching Center articles relating to sharks? Cheers. Intern Shark Nerd, what a coincidence that you would ask me this question. So, I pay attention first and foremost to the most famous of these shark-related articles, SCP-1057, codename Absence of Shark. It is a empty space 5 meters long in the shape of an adult tiger shark that is animate. It acts like a shark. It tries to eat you like a shark, but it's not a shark because it's nothing. So absence of shark is clearly one of the shark anomalies. Now, let's see how many sharks I can find without getting the shark punching center involved. SCP-4499, codename Yes, only $44.99, is an anomalous variation of a great white shark. They appear identical to non-anomalous sharks. Autopsies reveal the presence of human-like larynx in the subject's throats, hypothesized to be responsible for the anomaly's ability to produce human vocalizations. Notably, the presence of a standard immobile basial in place of a human tongue should still impede pronunciation of numerous sounds. Blah, 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 technical. But listeners universally report clear and concise speech, often describing it as smooth and charismatic. And now, this shark is going to try and advertise to you several things to sell. Let's start with its advertisement for SCP-3521, codename Dado's Forced Banana Equivalent Dose Pills. Don't you just hate it when you're trying to smuggle plutonium across the border to start a nuclear war, only for those stick-in-the-mud customs officers to confiscate it and imprison you for life? Well, fret no more, because Dado has the solution for you. Introducing the Forced Banana Equivalent Dose Pills by Dado. A mouthful to say, but a stomachful to ingest. How many kilograms of bananas do you think one pill can generate? Not 3, not 6. Folks, I'm here to tell you today that popping just one of these pills will give you 9 million kilograms of bananas. That's more than twice the radiation per hour of the Fukushima reactor. Now, for you viewers at home, we have a special TV offer. The first 30 viewers to call the number on your screen will receive not 1, but 2 containers of Dado's banana pills for the price of 1. Plus, all orders within the next 60 minutes will receive free postage. But hurry, supplies are limited, so call now, and we'll guarantee you'll learn to trust Dado. Next up, Dr. Wondertainment's Little Mister series. Have you ever looked at your friends' anomalous object collections and thought, boy, I wish mine was that impressive? Well, fret no more, friends, because I'm here today to introduce you to the highly impressive, highly collectible Little Mister series by Dr. Wondertainment! Featuring 20 unique anomalous humanoids, you're guaranteed to be the envy of the whole town. Each order includes one random Little Mister plus a free collectible Little Mister checklist that will automatically tick itself off for each and every Little Mister you get. Find amazing anomalies, including Mr. Lie. You won't believe the stuff this guy comes up with. Mr. Mad. We guarantee he'll be the friend you only ever imagined. Mr. Stripes. If Facebook thinks they have your data ready for sale, they've got another thing coming. As always, these products are in limited supply, so be sure to call the number on your screen now and don't miss out. Disclaimer. Disclaimer. Advertishark and Advertishark Party Limited are not responsible for the disappearance and or delivery failure of Mr. Lost. Damn disclaimers. Advertised product. SCP-001, codename Reacted. Sensitive information expunged. Note from O5 redacted. How 4499 obtained this information is currently being treated as an alpha level containment breach. All involved personnel have been given Class A amnestics. Addendum 2, Unusual Documented Activity. On redacted date, surveillance equipment monitoring 4499's detected audio patterns consistent with speech. Video recording confirms the following conversation occurred exclusively between two 4499 instances, designated -1 and -2. So now we have two Advertisharks talking to each other. -1. I don't know, man. I just don't think a statue that kills you when you blink has much of a market. No, trust me. This thing is cool. I can name 10, 20 anomalous zoos that would kill to have one of these things. Dude, it literally smears feces everywhere. Nobody's paying to see that. Besides, it won't do anything if everyone's watching it. Shit, you've got a point. What about that chainsaw that turns inanimate objects into ghosts? I think you've got something there. Imagine the aesthetic appeal for goths or haunted house owners. Yeah, that's my angle. Here's what I've got so far. Have you ever looked at the bright, colorful world around you and thought, this happy-go-lucky crap is really cramping my vibe? Then do we have the product for you? Introducing the chainsaw, the #1 product for making what you see, what you saw. Oh, that's nice, man. Loving the tongue-in-cheek slogan. Really catchy. Yeah, I think I've got a bestseller here. Commission's gonna be through the roof. Definitely gotta see what Steve has to say about this. Both instances depart and the conversation ends. Okay, SCP 4499. You get my upvote. I am so glad that there was a shark nerd here to introduce us to the Advertisharks. Thank you, Shark Nerd. You have brightened my day. Also, thank you to SCP author Wazi Kamawada for writing 4499. Returning to the chat. Alpha 1 Red Right Hand Team 9, thank you for sending a gold coin to the Containment Hazard Assessment Team. I am sure they will cherish those doubloons. Huh. Good night to everyone who seems to be going to bed at whatever time is your local time. It seems to be a common refrain in the chat right now. Get good sleep. Sleep is part of your body being healthy. It's important. You lose all your gym games if you don't sleep to recover and build the muscle. Therefore, you need the sleep. So sleep. Dr. Sherman, use the tag search and search the tag shark and not shark punching center to get what you're looking for. Oh, well, that's awfully convenient, DJ. And Shark Nerd, I hope you were listening. And so, we're going to go, Shark Nerd, all the way to the search. And we're going to go to the tag search specifically. So we're going to search for shark. And we're going to search for not shark punching center. And I guess we should do not the other shark punching center one, because it had an underscore below it. Oh. Suffice it to say, you get the point. When I do, even if I just do search for shark, but omit shark punching center, I get 14 pages. All of which are SCP articles. So these are all SCP articles, not tagged shark punching center, that have sharks in them. So that's a good way to do it. Honestly, out of 10,300 plus SCP articles, only 14 of them are sharks that are unrelated to the shark punching center. What if I take that off? We jump up to 27 pages if the shark punching center is let back in. So honestly, not crazy. But that doesn't make sense. Hold on a second. Back. If I search for... What? That's not even tagged. That's brand new. Tag shark. Yeah, shark is to 27 tags. So that was SCPs and SPCs. 27 sharks. Good to know. Alpha 1 Red Right Hand Team 9, thank you for becoming a mobile task force captain here at Site 42. We appreciate your newly minted membership and service. Dr. Sherman, animal tags are exclusive to SCPs. That's why they're SCP attributes. Interesting. Well, now you've got me interested in a page of SCP attributes, which is probably in the comprehensive list of tags for SCP attributes. If you want to find anything about any SCPs, you can go to the tag list, and you can go to top level tags, major page tags, object classes, attributes of SCPs, genre tags, arc tags, group of interest tags, canons, series, characters, locations, content markers, staff process, events, and translations. For all your tag needs. Mm-hmm. 369 Destroyer, thank you for what I believe to be your first donation of today's stream. Yes, so grab yourself a crunch wrap on your way past the commissary. So I can find out what SCP-001 is from a shark, huh? Well, that one particular shark, I guess. Mm-hmm. 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 Time check. Intern Bottle, we are currently at the 2.5 hour mark, which means a maximum of 30 minutes remaining. Is SCP-096 faster than a bullet? Intern Nawong, have you read the SCP-096 documentation on the database? Because it does, in fact, mention a redacted and yet still approximate running speed. Yes, we reported that. And then we came to here. Where is that? Target's currently westbound traveling on, yeah, he's on the I-40. Outbound vector is blank degrees, but this is a couple 100 kilometers. Speed change is inconsistent. The anomaly does get hit by bullets from behind, which means that it is not moving faster than bullets. It does not give us specific speeds, but it does not move faster than bullets. What would happen if SCP-610 and the clockwork virus infected the same person? They would have to thumb war on who got the body. Can I ask you a question? That's what this briefing is for, but now that I've seen your question, I can't guarantee I'll actually see your next one. Because there is a chat, there are a lot of people. So don't ask if you can ask me a question. Ask the question. Don't waste your shot. Hey Doc, has there ever been an SCP that messes around with things being redacted before? I mean, there are plenty of SCPs that mess with their own documentation in one way or another. I mean, an anti-memetic anomaly redacts itself by eating the information. So there's that. So SCP-999 stole my Coca-Cola, what should I do? Intern Magnus, you had your Coca-Cola stolen by a couch-sized slime with the mental capacity of a puppy. What you do is you hang your head in shame for being bamboozled. Would SCP-999 be able to prevent or counteract the effects of SCP-1939? Well, I would need to look at SCP-1939 to recall what it is. Codename Radio Occupied Europe. Commercial radio. Pick up several stations comprising news, music, and state programming in German. Broadcasts for play procedures do not match radio broadcasts of any extant radio station. The radio is telling news stories from a world where Hitler died in 1963, suggesting he probably won the war or something. So I don't like an alternate Nazi universe. I'm already pretty tired of our current turning Nazi universe. Additionally, affected subjects experience change to their political beliefs regardless of prior political persuasion or lack thereof. Subjects exposed in 1939 begin to have a noticeable affinity for the policies of National Socialism. Great. No, it's a radio that makes you a Nazi. Thanks, I hate it. Get it out of the White House. So no, SCP-999's slight alleviation of depression and PTSD symptoms will not cure you of being a Nazi. What will cure you of being a Nazi is SCP SCP-8814. Check the dog whistles on that number. SCP-8814, codename the Racist's Hammer, is a standard claw hammer from a hardware store that turns you into a frickin' Nazi Thor. This is the Reddit post depicting the operation of the anomaly. And so if you hold the hammer and say white power or any sort of racist shit like that, no, it does have to say white power, then you will be struck by lightning bolts. You will get bleach blonde hair and light blue eyes like a Super Saiyan. You will get increased strength and agility. You'll be able to fly, and you'll be anomalously durable. Upper limits of strength and agility did not be formally tested. If you say anything that's not racist, then you turn back into a human. But it turns out you are not invincible, title card. And so we use this to get rid of racists at the Foundation, because we send them in first, before the mobile task forces. We send in racist Thor first, and after they make a huge mess and get ganked, then we go clean up the remnants. Froy, what do you mean? What do you mean? The Nazi frogs. Does the SCP Foundation have Nazi frogs too? Have I talked about this and I put it out of my memory? Have I amnesticized myself from this? You're scaring me, Froy. Oh, you're talking about the tale Overthinking the Rainbow, where Clef was talking about Nazi frogs with Dr. Gears, explaining why the Foundation has to celebrate Pride. That's different. So yes, that's not an anomaly. That's just Nazis posting frogs. Annoying. I'm tired of the Foundation putting chemicals in the water that turn the frickin' frogs racist. Hey, we didn't do that, Shark Nerd. Look, this time, we didn't do it. It's not us. Not like that time that we did 9/11. Shame. This was a while ago. We did this stream on 9/11 last year. Because, we're doing daily streams, so I might as well cover all the holidays I can along the way. And what we discovered through our deep research of the SCP databank is that at least one time, the SCP Foundation was responsible for 9/11. It was an overseer, a corruption scheme, so we didn't do it on purpose. It was one overseer being an asshole, but technically that makes it us. What if the Hitler clone and Nazi Thor had a cross test? Intern Richard, because the Hitler clone, which is I think SCP-2430, isn't it brain dead? Yeah. The immortal Hitler clone is unable to produce speech. Therefore, it could not activate the racist hammer. Director Sherman considers 9/11 a holiday. Oh, damn. Oh, that's funny. That's not what I meant. I meant it like a national day of mourning. No, do not put those words in my mouth, shark nerd. Very funny, though. But no. Dr. Sherman, where can I get my employment contract? Intern Shark Nerd, have you taken amnestics recently? This broadcast only goes to active SCP Foundation employees. You would not be able to see it if you didn't work for us. You might have amnestics and have forgotten that. You might be. Are you in a Broken Masquerade universe? If you're in a Broken Masquerade universe where the general public knows about the SCP Foundation, then you might be someone who I'm doing PR with. In which case, it wasn't great of me to call 9/11 a holiday when I was doing PR for the Foundation. Listen, when I said we did 9/11, it wasn't our fault. It was a corrupt overseer and they were punished. Not us, not SCP Foundation morals to do 9/11. I'm just saying. But yes, if you exist in a Broken Masquerade universe where I'm doing PR to the civilians to make sure the SCP Foundation is known to be good at their jobs, which we totally for sure are, then yes, you can apply for working for the Foundation. Hey, Dr. Sherman, I'm using reading tales as a way to practice voice acting. Got any good tales that I could use? Well, Froy, first of all, if you go onto the database, the Site 42 YouTube channel, and you search the word tale, you'll find every tale that I have read for the channel. I found them interesting enough to do voices for, so therefore you might find them interesting as well. Otherwise, there's a lot of good stories, and you can give a lot of characters a lot of voices. Do you know SCP-131? Intern Anne-Marie, the iPods are rather famous. Yes, I am familiar with the iPod anomalies. What SCP would you choose as your roommate? Well, intern Anielo, I think SCP-008-J, codename Jeff, would be a rather chill roommate. I would play some PlayStation with that bro. Seems like a nice dude. I heard people got paid for working for the SCP Foundation. Well, intern Whitlock, we are a workplace like any other. Yes, we are more secret, much more dangerous, but we are still a job. And you got to get paid, you got to live. Even though we do not answer to any governments on Earth, we still have to deal with the fact that capitalism remains, and if we want resources, we have to purchase them. So obviously money has to be made. Do you remember Dr. Dean Gulbury? I have never heard that name in my life, I believe, intern CapCut. So, no, I do not remember what I do not know. Unless it's the amnestics again. Why ain't I getting paid then? Dang, I've been working here 5 years now. Well, intern Whitlock, you're an intern. You're a white name. You're an intern. The green names, the level 1 researchers, the mobile task force captains, the overseers, they're the ones that get paid. You're an intern. You're working your way up. Once you graduate and you get a full job here, then you will get paid. Dr. Sherman, there is a whale in orbit and we do not know why. Please help. Intern Shark Nerd, could you tell me, is there happening to be a bowl of petunias nearby it? Just a completely random query. Would you consider hanging out with SCP-999 as therapy? No, intern Magnus, I would not. Although it can be therapeutic in some fashions, it is not a substitute for therapy. It only has a mild euphoric effect that can be helpful for PTSD and other symptoms. But it is not full therapy, and you should not quit talking to your on-site therapist. Would the back rooms be considered as an SCP? Intern Unyellow, no, they would not be an SCP because they are not on the SCP database. They are a separate intellectual property, which means they are a separate thing. They are anomalous, but not an SCP. Plus those async jerks won't let us research them. Greedy punks. I gave clown milk to a group of chaos insurgency spies I found. They took me for a sympathizer, so I took advantage. Did I take it too far? Yes. Because clown milk kills a human very, very quickly. We can't question them if they're dead. Poor form. Disciplinary demerit. If you're looking for an SCP that works as therapy, go to the commissary and ask for a sample of SCP-7836. It's very effective. 7836, you say? Sealed bag of shredded mozzarella cheese. Bag is non-anomalous. Inside the cheese bag will replenish itself. Upon observing, individuals will be feel compelled to unseal and consume the cheese, regardless of self-imposed dietary limitations or medical conditions that would otherwise prohibit consumption of dairy products. Once any quantity of cheese has been consumed, a soda event will begin. During a soda event, instances will be transported to an office on the second floor of a building with a window showing a view that the current -1 will find calming. In reality, -1 instances remain stationary in the position they were upon consuming the cheese. Currently unknown if the visual element of soda events is a hallucination or an out-of-body experience. On rare occasions, audio recording devices held by -1 record audio produced by soda events. Has a Type 3 superintelligence that manifests during soda events. It will appear as a male, holding a clipboard, and it will literally do therapy for you. You are getting therapy from a cheese entity. Okay, therapy cheese, 7836, code name wanting to be cheddar. Bad. So bad. I am sure SCP-6542, codename Milk Jesus, approves. Anything that gets people to be eating cheese. Intern Inking, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some shredded cheese on your way past the commissary. Feeling cute might become an anomaly. Don't! You never know how that's going to go for you. You never know what your anomaly might interact with and then cause all sorts of problems. Don't. Don't. Time check. Intern Weirdo. We are currently 172 minutes into this stream. You have 8 minutes to ask your questions. So get your last minute questions in. Intern Inking, thank you for donating again to say, I hope my anomaly combusts. Combust you? Combust what? Either way, fire is one of those dangerous anomalies that I don't want people to have. It's bad. No, my right eye is not at a higher elevation. I touched a good doggy before I took my antihistamines. It is getting better, but it is not pleasant. What pizza would SCP-106 take from the Infinite Pizza Box? Intern Unyellow, obviously, the old man, Radical Larry, would get barbecue chicken pizza. Clearly. Intern Inking, thank you for donating again to say, all of the above. I very much hope against your hopes. I do not need you burning down the site. The hard to destroy reptile's name should be the impossible to destroy reptile. Well, intern on yellow, it is, you know, not impossible to destroy, just hard. It has been destroyed before, in multiple cases. Thoughts on SCP-655? Don't remember it. Let's look it up and get a cursory glance. Codename, Ripping the Fabric. Hostile predatory organism measuring what 10.5 centimeter tip to tail, tripedal, 2 hind legs, single interior limb, 4 digits. So it is a drawing that can attack 3-dimensional personnel. This little guy can get you. So I don't like it. I feel like this is this is pretty difficult to contain, so it takes a lot of resources. It attacks people. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. That's my opinion. Returning to chat. 369 Destroyer, thank you for donating again to say. Before the end, SCP-72 fucking... Why? The world would be a better place if that thing didn't exist. But the least we could do is not fucking talk about it. Blue Phantom, thank you for donating again to say. 99 stole a truck again because it drank the soda it stole from that intern. Please ban soda from the break room when 999 is in the facility. Now I have to go catch it. Why is everything falling apart at the end of stream? I thought I was going to have a good end of stream and then go handle some paperwork. Go do some administration, some budget foo to deal with the fact that the overseers keep cutting the budgets around here. Apparently, no. Apparently, I've got all sorts of bullshit to deal with because certain members of my staff are impudent fools. At least I've still got this to settle my stomach. Dr. Sherman telling me an interesting neutralized class anomaly. That time, Director Bold kicked a baby. SCP-6469-D. That time, Director Bold kicked a baby. Yes, I know it's, quote, decommissioned. But if it's decommissioned, it is also neutralized, so I'm counting it. Because it's very funny that Director Bold panicked and kicked a baby. And now, Site 42 staff, we have made it to the end of today's stream. And as I do at the end of every stream, I tell you guys my favorite SCPs. Of course, I'm not going to tell you the SCPs I personally wrote are my favorites. That would be sheer narcissism, cheating. But if you want to read the SCPs I wrote, you can go to the Sherm's author page in Site 42 Hum on the SCP database. There you can see the SCPs I personally wrote, as well as contributed voice lines or sound effects to. And while you're on my author page, one tab over, you'll find a list of links. Links that, you know, some people ask about in the chat, but then they never seem to find because they're just not determined enough. It's real sad for them. But not for you, Containment Hazard Assessment Team, because when you hit those links, you'll be able to become a Site 42 Patreon patron or YouTube channel member if you want to donate to us monthly. You can do a Ko-Fi donation or YouTube Super Chat if you want to donate to us one at a time. Or you can go to the links for the next 6 days. Get your Dr. Sherman Site Director Edition plushie. You are running out of time to get this good boy. 6 days remaining before it's gone forever. Links in the description of the VOD. Links pinned in the chat. If you are... What's the phrase I'm looking for? Either way, if you were able to donate to Site 42 or purchase merch, we appreciate your generosity in keeping things running for myself, the Site 42 staff, and, overseers cutting budgets. We will survive no matter what. We are determined. But we thank you for your help in that matter. And if you can't donate or purchase merch, do not fret. We are an arts community. We understand the broke gang issue. Starving artists are a thing for a reason. But you can also help us out by being a part of Mobile Task Force Site 42, codename the Signal Boosters. When you engage with us in any manner, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, chatting, clipping us, making edits, animating our quotes if that's what you're doing. All sorts of different ways to engage, and don't just do it for us. Do it for the rest of the SCP community as well. The SCP Wiki and its authors and artists, the SCP filmmakers, animators, game devs, merch makers, podcasters. When you engage with an SCP project, you are bringing it more views. More of those people might have money, meaning they can donate or purchase. And all over, the snowball keeps rolling downtown. That's how we get bigger and better SCP films and games. We can't do it alone. The corporations won't help us because they don't want to touch a Creative Commons property. But we as a community, we just raised over $300,000 for SCP the anime, SCP Galleonic. We are mighty. We can do this. And I thank you for your service in this matter. Before my favorite SCPs, a donation came in during. Blue Phantom, thank you for donating again to say, have a good day and how was yours and desks? I think overall, it was a good day. Hold on a second. Hold on, I'm just checking something. Okay, I was making sure I didn't actually nuke 369 Destroyer. I thought it was funny to time them out for a minute because of their rude last-minute super chat. But they haven't spoken since, so I'm not sure they're not dead. And that worried me for a moment, but they are not banned. I am sure they have just felt remorse for their actions And that is why they have stopped talking since I banned them for a minute. It worries me that YouTube broke and actually banned them forever or something. And I hope that is not the case. I would feel bad. Well, we'll see what happens as the stream outro continues, as well as tomorrow. Maybe it will all be okay. Suffice it to say, we are all in this together to try and make the SCP community grow, and I thank you for your service, all of you, in helping to do so. Now, without further ado, my favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one, it is a bit of a rough read. Speed round. 3999-3043-008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 5320, content warning on the last one, it's a rough read. And Site 42 staff, remember that tomorrow is Fan Art Friday, meaning it will be early. Tomorrow's an early stream because I have to do it before the cover job. So be aware of that. Be ready. Get your notifications on. Hit your notification bell. Or if you are in the Site 42 Discord server, make sure you hit your YouTube live alert and don't mute your Discord notifications. Site 42 staff, this has been another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site 42. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. I'll see you in the next video or stream. We get it on most every night. When that moon is big and bright, it's a supernatural delight. Everybody was dancing in the moonlight. Dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight. Credit song is Dancing in the Moonlight. The version I know is by Top Loader, but I think there's an earlier version too. By something like King Harvest, yeah. So be safe, be well, Site 42 staff, and as always, secure, contain, protect. See you in the next video or stream.